I'm Rick Green with the Oklahoman's Capitol Bureau, and I'm here today with Lieutenant Governor Todd Lamb and Michael Carnuccio, President of the E Foundation for Oklahoma. Thanks for coming by today, gentlemen. Lieutenant Governor, tell me a little bit about the E Foundation, your involvement, and Michael, chip in as needed.
Sure.
Initially, let me say, we're excited to announce more about the E Foundation for Oklahoma. We had we call it a soft announcement or a soft launch back in November, December timeframe, announcing Michael's leadership coming on board with the E Foundation for Oklahoma, serving as president. But the E Foundation for Oklahoma is a foundation that has been created to create an actionable plan for Oklahoma, focusing on public policy issues that will impact our state in the next 20 years. Too often, those running government are forced to focus on the issues of the day, which is important. You've got to focus on the issues of the day and the crisis du jour, or really the crisis of the day. But when you're forced to do that, you're almost forced into Band-Aid solutions, not long-term solutions. May be needed currently, but again, this foundation is going to be a long-term looking at issues that face Oklahoma.
And Michael, would you like to elaborate at all on that?
Yeah, I think the point is great that we find ourselves every year in public policy discussions constrained by not only the timeline during the legislative session, but also a view of, well, what's right in front of us that we need to tackle. Yet our desire is to improve the opportunity and empower Oklahoma citizens and to keep more of our talent here and even attract some of the best and the brightest from around the country to make this their destination. We've got to have a longer look and a deeper dive and conversation about policy and look at a strategic plan that can really move the state forward and indeed set the state ahead.
And as a practical matter, how will this plan be derived? Will you have study groups, and what exactly will they be doing, and how will it be paid for?
A great question. I want to stress but to begin, it's not a think tank. This will not just be white papers, research, write a white paper, set it on a desk or somewhere else and hope somebody reads it, engage in public policy. I'm in a unique leadership position right now as Lieutenant Governor. I go to every county every year as Lieutenant Governor, and when I go, I just don't pass through a county or get a limeade at Sonic. I visit with citizens all around the state asking, what are impediments to growth? What's your advice based on your business experience upon that impediment, how we address that impediment? So the E Foundation for Oklahoma is probably a good time to state what the E is, because there have been some questions. Does it stand for education? Does it stand for excellence? We've had a lot of those questions already. Well, there are 6 pillars in the E Foundation for Oklahoma. We're going to focus on education. We're going to focus on energy, focus on exporting, entrepreneurship, enduring freedom pillar to bring in our military installations, and efficiency in government to tackle issues, that last piece, efficiency in government, to tackle issues such as water policy in Oklahoma, criminal justice, agriculture, value added with our agriculture communities all around the state. So those are the pillars that hold up and define the E Foundation for Oklahoma, and those are some of the issues we will focus on and address.
And how will it be done? Will you bring people into the discussion? Will you travel? Will you or have university experts, or just on the ground as a practical matter? How's it going to be done?
Well, I'll let Michael build on that too, but initially let me just state quickly, yes, to answer your question. Mm-hmm. You asked a lot there, but yes. We've been very encouraged and affirmed, Rick, if you will, by the leadership, men and women from around the state that have wanted to sign on and agreed to sign on in a leadership capacity. This is a buy-on. This is not a unilateral approach to issues. Not just my idea, not just Michael's idea, but bringing our greatest asset, people of Oklahoma. That's our greatest asset. Bringing in people from all across the state to address these issues.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. The yes and is the idea that you're taking the best and the brightest. You're taking ideas that the Lieutenant Governor is hearing all across the state that we see and that are brought up to the Capitol. And then you're taking a lot of the research that's done, a lot of the studies that might exist. I mean, we mentioned water policy. There's several water studies that are there, and taking it to the next stage. What does it look like to execute this opportunity? What, if implemented, would this mean for the state? And at whatever point that may have a cost-benefit ratio ratio that shifts, well then how do we address that down the line so that we know we're carrying an idea forward, we're implementing something that has continued to raise the bar in the state of Oklahoma. Those ideas aren't just at 23rd and Lincoln, and they didn't originate there most of the time. And so going out into the communities, going out into, you mentioned our higher education facilities and all of the research capacity that we have there, absolutely tapping into all of that that already exists and bringing them forward.
And who will be paying for it?
Private funds. This is not a governmental entity. This is not a political entity. I'll say it's a 501c3. There's not a political arm of the E Foundation for Oklahoma. It's to focus on policy, and we're raising private dollars to do that, and we've had success raising private dollars to do that.
We have, but an important point is, as a foundation, the organization is set up to raise resources to support its efforts and focus, but not so much as a membership entity or membership organization where we're either trying to just get large numbers or be influenced by a particular donor in a direction. This is truly a foundation that starts with, here's our desire, a long-range vision for the state of Oklahoma that is going to raise the bar and is going to create opportunity for all Oklahomans. And if you're interested in that, we'd like to have your investment, but that's where we start.
And are there any guidelines in terms of its approach, whether it be conservative, moderate, or liberal, or is there any sort of a mission statement?
Well, there's not a mission statement as far as that leaning or that bent, but Rick, I think you know, I think many people know my approach and my conviction. I'm conservative. But when you go to work in the morning, if you punch a clock, you don't punch a Democrat clock, a Republican clock, an independent clock. It's a clock in Oklahoma. You work for an Oklahoma company. You're an Oklahoma citizen. These are, as I said earlier, our greatest asset, that's the people of Oklahoma. We're going to bring in people from all walks of life with no litmus test on great ideas to move Oklahoma forward and to make Oklahoma a state that all our citizens can enjoy, thrive in, prosper in. But it's no secret that my leanings and my conviction and my approach to life is conservative.
And will there be a report at some point, or how's that going to be released publicly?
Well, I think we both address that, but I would say consistently. You'll hear about us talk about issues consistently. This month, next month, months ahead, years ahead. Again, it's a long-term vision, so it's not a quick fix with a deadline in 60 days or 90 days, but a lot of these issues will take a methodical approach and a lot of brain power.
Yeah, and I think the difference to what we're used to is that you may get a group together of bright minds and produce a report on recommendations. What we're looking for is actually the next step and the step thereafter. Well, okay, here's the recommendations. What does implementing it look like? What talent do you need to be able to carry these ideas to the next level? What structure of adoption does that need to look like? What is 5 years, 10 years down the road at the state level and for our communities across the state look like in order for these ideas to move forward? So we're not just focused on producing the report, which yes, you'll see that's an important part of the process. We're actually taking it a step further and thinking through what does this look like through implementation and how do we march that course. That's why you hear us saying an actionable plan and pathway for the state of Oklahoma.
Governor Bellman began a group in 1967 called the Oklahoma Academy that does a process, a very systematic process of gathering together some of the top people in the state every year to look at key issues and then make a report on that. Is this going to be similar to that, or what do you think about the Oklahoma Academy approach?
Well, I want to be careful and not to compare the E Foundation for Oklahoma to another group, association, entity, or anything else for that matter. I can tell you what we are focused on, and that's what we've done today, how we are going to approach these issues, how we're going to bring Oklahomans in to do just that. A unique aspect of the E Foundation for Oklahoma, there is a policy public official right here in front of you, if I can speak in first person, or third person, the lieutenant governor. I'm engaged in policy now. I'm engaged in the E Foundation. So a matter of implementation, that's why we keep talking about the action plan and implementation of public policy.
Yeah, I think
that's a unique aspect.
That is. I think that's the key focus. It's the implementation thereafter. We have just as we've said before, that our greatest asset in the state is our people, we also have some organizations in the state that do incredible work and have been doing it for a long time and are producing great ideas and recommendations for the state. We're looking to take that next step and augment what is happening right now with that implementation phase and really taking this conversation and taking advancement in the state to the next level that we've been needing for some time.
Are you going to run for governor next time out?
We're still in the air?
Yes.
Rick, well, right now we're talking about the E Foundation. People have asked before if that's in the back of my mind. I've said, well, I think I told you this. Not in the back of my mind, it's in the front of my mind, but we're not announcing that today, and there are no plans to announce that today. We're just focused on policy. Here's the bigger question I want to answer. One of the reasons we're doing the E Foundation, Michael has 3 children. He and his wife, Caleb, 3 children. Monica and I have 2 children. There's a selfish aspect, I'll confess. I want our son who's 15, our daughter who's 12, to remain in Oklahoma and have opportunity in Oklahoma when they finish their education. So am I committed to the future? I'm committed to the future.
Just in case you are considering running for governor, would this process, this foundation, give you a greater public profile that could help in a race like that?
My answer to you is I don't know, because I've not thought of it through those lenses. I've thought about the issues I hear about as I travel to every county every year and how best to address those issues and those challenges, those impediments that Oklahomans are facing. That's the goal.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it. Is there anything I didn't ask that I should have asked?
It was pretty thorough.
Yeah, it was good. Really appreciate your time and all you do, Rick.
Thank you.
Thank you for coming down, gentlemen.
You bet.